Go. So, hey guys, today I'm here with Chi Anana is how you pronounce it? Like
That is
banana, right?
actually Anyana. Anyana.
Anyana. Okay, Anyana. Chi Anyana. On another episode of Cerebral Palsy and Fitness, she's mentioned to me that she's the founder of Fitness Enthusiast in Bohol, right? In the Philippines?
That's right. That's right.
And she will be talking a little bit about her journey, her fitness journey, um, how she found herself throughout the years, and where she is today. And so, with that being said, I will start with how did you begin fitness enthusiast?
How did I begin fitness enthusiast? Well, actually, that was just very in on February last, no, 2 months ago. Um, I think we belong to the same group, the fitness enthusiast like world, like right, David.
I believe so. Yeah, we met in the group, but you started something totally separate, right?
Right, true. Yes, so I started that on 25th of this year, and well, that was when Corona outbreak started, and I was just like I could see where I could see the future. Like everyone's gonna be so worried about their fitness because they wouldn't be able to go to the gym. But I noticed in the fitness enthusiast group, I think it was only me among the friends I know who live in my island. So I thought, why not create our own group so we can, see each other's fitness journey while we are on quarantine. So that was basically my purpose for that group.
That is awesome. And tell me a little bit about your journey to where you're, how you made it to where you are today. Like in terms of what made you want to change. You know,
What made me want to
what made you
change?
want to exactly.
Change. Like change what? Like because
In terms of like your fitness, what made you kind of decide to look in the mirror one day and you're like, I'm ready to like change how I look because I don't feel comfortable in my skin. So
okay.
I know.
I think, well, I've always been into sports since I was probably in kindergarten because my grandpa took me to the tennis court almost every day to be his personal ball girl. So I picked up the ball from my grandpa. But then I think that was when I was 22, and that was when my first girlfriend broke up with me, and she left me for another girl. And that was, when you love someone, I think it's about love and pain and stuff like that. So we're going deeper now, right?
Exactly. I can relate. When you go through a breakup, things get kind of rough and it gets kind of rocky, but sometimes you have to dig deep and find yourself and just pull yourself out of that hole and just keep moving.
Yeah, so breakup is kind of like a beautiful disaster or blessing in disguise. Like, when you love someone and then that person becomes a part of your future and like but the moment they will leave your world is the moment where that love comes back to you. So when that happened to me, I could see myself in the mirror and I was like, who are you? So I thought, okay, there's a lot of things I can grow, and I think from that pain, I tried to get over the pain by giving myself a lot of love, and see myself grow and change into a much better person.
Exactly.
So
So
that's
self-love. You can't beat that. You have to learn to love yourself first before you love anybody else.
right, but they don't teach us that.
Yeah, well, it's something real important though. It's a good thing
Yes,
to know. It's a good thing to have in the back of your head. You know.
that is
Also, you could say like it's like almost like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
beautiful. It is beautiful. A lot lighter, of course. I think I'm a lot lighter compared to that time because I did some training. So yeah, perfect metaphor.
Also, all the pressure, from that you had on your relationship, you put it into the weights. Is you put it into your fitness. All that stress, all that pain, just went to the weights, and it just left. You just left it all there.
Exactly.
And look at you
I
now.
mean, yeah, I do that every day. I mean, like I've realized now since I've been doing fitness for about like what 6 years, and it's not. There are many kinds of heartbreak. I realized not only romantic, but there's like friendly heartbreak, political heartbreak, religious heartbreak. So whenever I go out into the world, or like through Facebook or YouTube, and I see something, which I think that's when the perception of people is in conflict. I feel this kind of pain in that. So I use that power or emotion to into my business. So instead of like fighting back, sometimes I still fight back, but instead of fighting back, I just like get the dumbbells and do some reps. And when I get back into that same conflict, I feel there's no conflict or there's no emotional stress anymore, where I can deal with the conflict much better.
Exactly. The way that I see a gym is for people like us. It's kind of like a sanctuary. Like you get away from everything that's been bothering you for the day or for the week or for the month, and just leave it all there. Just and when you get home, you don't. It's like when you come home from work, you don't want to talk about work. You just want to relax, and
Right.
enjoy the time with your family or with your friends, or if you have any pets, just enjoy the time. You don't want to think about anything that's stressing you out,
That's right. It's a sanctuary. Perfect. Like it's the problem is we don't have the gym anymore around this time. So I think a lot of like the stress around the world is probably like really increasing right now.
Yeah,
So
I mean, like I said, we're here. I'm here at home, and I've been at home since March 15th. So we're going on about, let's see, it's now April 9th, so we're about to hit a month pretty soon. So I've been home for about 3 weeks.
how are you hanging? I mean, how are you hanging on? Hanging on. So how are you dealing with the.
I'm dealing with it pretty good. It's not as bad as you think. The only downside to it is you just get up, just work on your computer for a few hours, work out and try to find something to do afterwards. And it's kind of tough because you're surrounded in like that one space when humans are usually used to like going out, having freedom to go to a little movie or to go see some friends, and yet you feel restricted. It's almost like a prison, yet you're not really in prison. You're just in your home. You know, you're
Exactly.
yeah.
It's kind of like you have to shift your mind, and shifting or
Shift your
changing your
mindset.
brain. Yeah, it can take a long time.
So how
No,
did you?
not for you.
I think it's the right way to put it. So how did you manage to find yourself like when you were younger? Because
Younger.
I mean I know you were lost at the beginning, and you don't you I think you felt like you didn't have a sense of identity, but I think you were able to find it over time, right?
Oh yeah. I well, I think you haven't mentioned yet, but I'm actually a lesbian, and
Yeah, I think you told me, right? Yeah, you mentioned it
yeah,
to me. Yeah, you did.
yeah, I did while we were chatting.
Yeah, yeah,
But
of course.
sorry, surprise! I know the listeners. So, well, I'm from the Philippines, and I think if you're not so familiar with Philippines, 90% of our population is Christian. 80 to 90%. I mean,
Wow.
not Christian, Catholic. Catholic is
So
80%.
So it's really hard to so what you're saying is it's really hard to come out and just be out in the open, and it's just
Very
very difficult.
super hard. And I grew up in a very religious family. Like my father's brother is a priest, was a priest. He's already dead. And his sister is a Catholic nun. So growing up, I've always felt so different because I think this is not a special story because I think many people who are like me experience such a story where they feel like, what am I? Who am I? Because they say that girls should be like this, but deep inside you don't feel
Right,
so.
right. It's like the roles when it comes to male and females. Like we live in a society where they've always believed that females should be in the home versus males should be out working. Now, if you notice over time, it's starting to shift where it's starting to
Yes.
equal, but the equality is not there yet because you may be equal in the workplace as far as what you do, but in the pay it doesn't really reflect it. You see what I'm saying?
Sorry. Hello.
Like in the pay, it doesn't really reflect it. You see what I'm saying?
Yes. I'm sorry, but I think I lost you for a bit. What was that again?
Like you know how when males and females work in the same job, for example, they work in the same profession, but they get different. There's a wage gap, so males get paid more than females. Versus, I mean, I believe that eventually, who knows, it might change and things might stabilize. But for now, we have to deal with that disparity. With that.
That's right. There's still a lot for humanity to do. There's still a lot of things to learn. There's still a lot of things to experience. And I mean, I think thanks to the internet, like it's easy to look at what's going on in another country and then try to bring that into your own country. But it's kind of very funny in a crazy way because last year I and a couple of friends, not really close friends, but like people from my hometown, we organized an LGBT group, and
That's
that's
awesome.
the first time ever. And I was chosen to be the like president of that organization. So, but in my experience as like since I was in my school days, I've always been like the leader type, but I'm not really the leader type, like the dictator type. I'm more like, hey, let's have fun, let's go, do
You're
this,
more
do
like
that.
you more like you want to get everybody together and join you in that particular
Perfect.
cause, right?
They love each other. That's what I want,
You're more of a
and
team leader.
me. But yeah, I of course I've read a lot of books on leadership and stuff just to perform my role to the best that I can. But like I didn't. There were so many dimensions that I didn't know. Like for instance, the biases that exist in a close connected or related community. So actually, I quit. Unfortunately, I quit, and I think that's kind of like one of my biggest. It's a kind of one of the biggest heartbreak next to a romantic heartbreak because you put your heart to it, like you
You put your heart and soul into it. You put in the work.
search everything you put into it, but especially when when there's a group and then there's always the conflict stage where people's differences, personality differences, and like stuff like that come to surface. And I was like, oh, where's this coming from? That was tough.
That is awesome. And how did it do you feel like now, since you've already, like, as you mentioned, like, come out, do you feel like there's more support now around you, like with those from those close to you?
Certainly. But as for my family, yes, of course. I have some relatives living in Canada. They're more open-minded, and actually, by open-minded, I mean to say like, hey, they tend to use them because I think I don't, they don't know me that much, so they tend to use the female, I don't know, male adjectives instead of the female one. But I really identify as a lipstick lesbian, so I love to be feminine, um,
Okay.
stuff like that. But yeah, it's getting better, of course. But I'm the only, I think, I'm the only lesbian or gay in my family, as far as I know.
And let's see what else here. So has being that you've overcome all of this, has it allowed you to, I mean, open doors to like meeting like all kinds of people like through different religious backgrounds? I know disabilities because you and I met and I shared a little bit about myself and how I have cerebral palsy and all, and being an athlete. How has this experience allowed you to kind of expand and meet others around you?
I think I still have a lot of limiting beliefs. It's hard to, relieve those subconscious patterns deep inside you, like, things that you're not aware was, put into you because you're in the water, you're in there, so you're not aware of that. I think there's just so many limiting beliefs that I have wherein not everyone is welcome because of that belief that I don't know that is in me. So, but as for religion, I still have like in me. I still, especially if that person or that group forces me to, especially when they make me believe that I need to change from being gay to straight because I can't go to heaven. That's where the conflict always is. Like I think that was last month. I went to a gym and we had some uh, get together, and then there was a volcanic eruption in my island, and one of my friends there like always invites me to go to church on Sunday, and she was like, "Hey, go to church on Sunday now. You know what's going on? The world's gonna end soon." I still, I think I can be open to people who are open and especially kind. And I think um, it's more how open the other person is. If he's open, I'm gonna be open, and if the person pushes his or her belief into me, then that will probably repel me.
Right. I
Or
think it. I
what?
think it goes. I think it's something for that everybody can relate to because you never want to force your religious beliefs on anybody because I feel like it's not the right thing to do. It's like because they're not really consenting to you to speak about their religion, versus if somebody says, "Oh yeah, well I want to learn about it and I want to listen to it," and that's different. That's different because you're consenting to that person that you want to talk about religion versus, like here in the U.S. I don't know if they do it in the Philippines, but I have people that knock on my door, like the Jehovah's Witnesses. They'll knock on my door. They'll come in your neighborhood like I think it's on Saturdays. They come by and they knock on your door, and they'll be like, "Hey, can we talk about?" And personally, I don't discriminate against any religion because religion's religion. You believe what you want to believe, and you respect the person regardless of how you feel about their religion. You don't discriminate because it's not the right thing to do. Um, I'll just politely say, I'm not interested, but thank you. That's the best way to put it. You don't want to go and say, hey, I hate your people and I hate this and I hate that because it makes you look like I don't know how to word it, but it makes you look like a bigot. Like you're not respecting that person's
Yeah,
ideals, that person's beliefs.
right.
And that's the last thing you
I
want to do.
sorry, go on.
That's the last thing you want to do, is look bad,
Yes, yes, exactly. I don't know, but to be honest, in my case, I still have that kind of really, I don't know what emotion that is. It's not hate, but it's more like almost close to hate. It's like upset. It's very, very
More like
bad.
dislike.
Dislike, yeah, probably dislike.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Hate is such a strong word.
Strong, very strong. I think that's the bottom, right? Opposite.
That's when you don't really like something.
Right. I don't have hate, but I probably have some right. That okay? Please. That's so bad.
So, and I wanted to ask you as well, as far as the topic of disability. Do you have any friends with disabilities? What was your experience like meeting somebody with a disability for the first time?
um, well, I have mentioned before I studied in university, I majored in special education, so I've met a lot of people with disabilities. And as for my internship, I taught people with um, hearing and visual impairment. So we are
Oh,
still in. Sorry, go on.
so the deaf and the hearing impaired.
Right, that's right.
Okay.
Deaf and hearing impaired, and visual too. So
Okay.
we are still keeping in touch up to now. So it's been like what 15 years, but we still keep in touch on Facebook. And actually, my brother, I have a young brother. He's 14. He was diagnosed with ADHD when he was young, but he's getting better. He's 14, so I think he's
You keep them on the right
and
path.
he's
You keep them on the right path, right? Keep them set straight.
trying to. But I think his teachers are doing a really fantastic job. So I have to thank his teachers. They're so amazing.
What's it like over there as far as the education system in the Philippines?
Like in general, or specifically special education.
Special education there. What's it like?
Special education, really, it's getting better, but of course our education is patterned to the American educational system. Like our books, we go to universities, our references are usually like from American or like Western authors. So I think we are like just a little bit behind you, not a little bit, maybe a little bit far, but it's like for instance the financial support we really lack that, and support basically we don't have much support yet. So, but because there's a lot of things that our government is trying to focus more on now, to make money so that they can support all the, I mean, each, how do you call that? Each group in the community or in our country.
I noticed that I've seen a lot of in the Philippines. I noticed that education is very hard to come by. Like it's very hard for someone to stay in school. Like the dropout rate is very high, right? As far as staying in school is concerned, like it's very difficult to be able to obtain an education because of finances.
Finances. I think so. Uh, well, as for me, I'm quite lucky because I came from my dad. They could afford to help me, but like I think yes, there's a huge chunk of the population in which it's hard for them to even finish elementary schools.
And if you can, that's a very small part of the population. Which in reality, it's a blessing if you're able to get to that. to that far, even if it's just a high school diploma, which here in the US, a high school diploma is not really much anymore. You have to go further with your education. Like I have my bachelor's in sociology, and then I want to eventually go and get my master's in education and to continue with that because it's so important because I didn't I didn't mention this, but I think it was maybe give or take 8 years ago. Um, I had just finished off with my career as an athlete. I've been retired for about give or take a year or two, and then I got a call to go up to Tampa, which is a city in the U.S. and Florida where I live, um, and they offered to help me tour the facility, their Paralympic training facility, which I don't know if you heard about the Paralympics, which is like the
I've
second
heard.
largest organization behind the Olympics, and they wanted to offer me a spot on their team locally to work my way up to be an international, professional athlete. But I thought to myself, hey, over the years my body just went through a lot, because I played three sports all in one year. There was one year I played baseball, football, and soccer. Baseball, football, and what was it? Baseball, football, and cycling for
Cycling.
for a year straight. So um, I actually there were times on Saturdays where in the mornings I had cycling practice. I'd rest for about an hour or two, and then I would have a baseball game in the afternoon, or I would have no cycling, but I would have a football game in the morning, and then some days I'll have baseball in the afternoon too. So I was just training. Just um, I was gonna compete for one more year after 2008, but I called it a career because I had suffered an injury where I had to have surgery, and that happened because I was training in the off season, getting ready for football. I went to do a lift, and I guess I might have suffered a hernia. I suffered a hernia, and those are probably the most one of the most painful injuries you can get. A hernia, and I had to
Is it
have
like
surgery. And by the time I had surgery and season started, I was out of shape. I mean, it took me 3 months to get back to at least some kind of shape to be able to, you know, because playing football, you're running around a lot. American football, you're running around a lot. I played flag football, so there was no contact, so we didn't have any hitting or any of that nature. I don't know if you know how American football works. It's not like
I? It's American football. I'm not really quite sure, but it's more brutal than um, rugby, right?
oh oh no, as far as brutal, rugby's a lot worse than football.
Okay.
The,
Okay.
the
So
only the only reason the only reason football seems rough is because some people decide to um, not follow by the rules. So you're having consistently to deal with players that'll hit helmet to helmet, and if you hit somebody helmet to helmet, you're talking about concussions. There's been cases where there's players with CTE, which is damage to the brain. So as they get older, their brain either their memory could deteriorate or physically they get worse over time. And as with any sport, as with any sport that you're involved in contact, you're bound to suffer consequences. It can impact you mentally, psychologically, physically, because when you hit the brain at full force, you're impacting a lot of what's inside. You know.
right. That's I think a risk which athletes take, especially with the how do you call that, like close
Close
touch
proximity.
or sorry.
Close proximity.
that, but I think I got it. How do you spell close?
Proximity.
Yes, it's close proximity. So that's a risk of playing those games, but that's already given. I mean, people are aware that there's that risk, right?
Yeah, it's not easy, and and I as much as I love playing sports and all, I, I'm kind of glad I went to college, but at the same time, I tell people, um, never say never. You never know. I might just decide to one day be like, hey, you know what? I want to do one more year of this and see if my body has one more year. You know, because I mean I've gone through a lot of different injuries. Thankfully, I've never broken anything, so my body's still intact. It's just I'm just getting older because I'm not as fast as I used to be. So now, rather than focus on speed, I focus more on power. So now I'm more of a and I've always been a power guy because when they went to evaluate me at the facility for the Paralympics, they're like, you got a really strong upper body for a guy that train. I'm like, I've always had that strength. I can. And I have two different modes. I have when I'm on the field, I'm a complete different person. I'm not. I'm like people are like, you're not really nice when you're on the field. You're like, you're a complete different person. Like I don't know who
Monster.
you are. Like I'm like yeah, I'm like it's like my job. When I'm on that field, my job is to get this team to do what they have to do, and whether we win or lose, at least we tried. But we play our hearts out.
Right.
I
I
was
hear you
more the
saying.
motivator. I go before the game and I'll just start something and get the team fired up, and we go out there and play.
Yeah, go Tiger. More like that guy.
Yeah,
Captain.
yeah, pretty much. And I had a pretty good successful run playing sports, and I still work out, still keep in shape, and still keep active, and it's always been in the back of my mind, whether I feel like I can come back or not, but you never know.
But don't you miss the atmosphere of being in the sports field? Because I think it's totally different. Like to me, my fitness now is more like I'm free. But back then, when I used to belong to our university's tennis club, it's like I love the pressure from the coach
The
and from my
coach got to
friend.
you.
Sorry,
The coach got to you.
coach got to me.
Yeah, he'd always pressure you, so he would get to you, like he'd try to make you crack, like break you down, right?
We had several coaches, so each coach has like his personality and type. One coach of his was like that, and another coach was a kind of the clown one. So that kind of atmosphere it's something that I'm missing. The competition, probably.
So you mentioned you were a tennis champion, right?
Yeah. Back then.
How many times did you win the championship?
Well, at my first university, that was one time, and then I went back to another university because after the university's like what's that called? Sports festival. Um, After I won the championship, I was the school wanted me to be a part of the team right away. So the next sports days, I couldn't play anymore because I was in the chair or the committee already. So
Oh,
I played the like region level, region level. So that's I won probably as for my student days about twice school level, once in a province level, and once in regional level. So
impressive.
that's the highest I got.
Yeah, I made it to during my career as a cyclist. I made it to state 3 out of the 4 years, and I won three titles. In those three titles, I won them straight back to back to back to back, and no one ever did that. And then
Amazing.
one of
You are
them, and then one of them, I won with a messed up knee, because I had sprained my knee really bad one year, and I had to compete, and my parents were like, we don't think you should compete with your knee and how it is, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna tough it out, and I made it, and I won, and they had to help me up the podium because I couldn't put any pressure on it because it was like, it was really sprained. So
couldn't walk it.
after that, luckily nothing was broken, but you know, I still made it through.
Okay. You had a lot of good memories as an athlete. So yeah, I think that's very, very inspiring because like I you're how do you get your support? Like where do you get it? Because I mean it's even hard to compete. It's hard to compete, I think. But knowing that you have cerebral palsy, where do you find the sort? What's the energy coming from?
Where did I find it?
Motivation.
How did I begin with
Yeah.
the workouts? Well, I began. Let's see. I've been working out since I was 15, so I think around that time I was in physical therapy. Doing normal therapies, and everything, and I wasn't really working out. Paying attention to my fitness or anything like that. Just a normal kid. Didn't really care about all that stuff until I went to a doc. I think I had gone to a doctor, and the doctor had mentioned, I had to change my lifestyle, and if I didn't change my lifestyle, I'd end up in a wheelchair for the rest of my life because, as somebody with cerebral palsy, if you're not active, your body gets worse,
Okay.
you know, and so I began working out, and over the years, I started developing a liking to it. It takes a while, but I started, seeing that self confidence, come up, and the
Endorphins, happy hormones.
next thing you know, I remember I had my very first gym in my parents' home, and their back porch. I had a weight machine. I had a stationary bike. I had free weights. I had a punching bag, some boxing gloves, because I used to love doing Muay Thai and boxing back in the day too. Because it really helps you alleviate, all that stress too. Wanting to, let it all out, Um, and then I used to run around my neighborhood, and that was until just recently that I was able to move out on my own, which I live on my own now. So, and then I have my own gym membership, and um, and I go to the gym and I work out there. So, um, like I tell people, whether you're disabled or not, whether you're in a wheelchair or not, you can still be active and still get things done. You know, like my motto is, and the videos you see, if I can do it, so can you. That's always a motto that I've always stuck with. You know, because if somebody like myself can do it, you can do it too. You know, if somebody like myself can graduate college, you can graduate college too.
Anybody can. I think
If
anybody
somebody,
can.
if I can be positive, despite all the obstacles I've had to battle in my life, so can you.
Um, as for me, I always post like my before and after picture, and I always get the some comments, and they're asking me how to do it, and I tell them like, okay, please follow the. I send them a video or steps, and they say, okay, how long will it take to lose weight? I'm like, please don't ask me the question because if you know, you might not start.
And um, have you ever dealt with have you ever dealt with like any hate from people, like any hateful comments towards you or anything like that, or anything kind of like that made you feel uncomfortable, or just like just like I can't believe you said this, and you're just like you look at it and you don't say anything, but it's like it's terrible, like what they just
You feel it. You mean like how I react to the
yeah,
comments?
like if somebody says something out of the ordinary that's like really offensive, like have you ever dealt with that before?
I not really, because I don't know. I just not really.
Okay, that's
Um,
good.
Sometimes I feel like, especially for the fitness enthusiast, I don't know if it's my ego or something, but like especially when somebody, like for instance, one day before, I was posting a workout video, and I think I posted the 1 minute wall sit challenge, and somebody just said, "Hey, you really wanna? It looks like you really wanna hurt your back." And he has been commenting me same thing for many times already. So I was like,
Oh, one of those
okay,
people.
can you please teach me how to? What do you mean? But how can I avoid like back injury? So I was like, it didn't feel right. The approach was like, it made me feel like I'm a dumb person. I don't know how to exercise properly. That's
I,
how I felt.
I've had people say, um, like, what's wrong with you? What happened to you? Um, I've had people even add me like from the page that we met from. They'll message me and they'll be like, "Oh, I just wanted to message you because I felt sad for you." I'm like,
What's that?
you don't need to feel sad for me at all. I don't feel sad about myself. I know what I have. I embrace myself. I embrace my disability. I don't let it define who I am. Now, whether or not you feel sad or happy, that's your opinion. I'm not gonna sit here and judge you and fight you because you said you felt sorry for me.
Right.
That's you.
That's
All I can do is educate you. You know, and when I start getting into an intellectual conversation with them, you see them get flustered, like, but you should feel. I'm like, what is there to be said about? What is there to be said about? There's nothing. There really isn't.
yeah. And they force their
I tell them, focus on re-evaluating your thoughts. Think positive thoughts, and maybe when I speak to you, like I'm speaking to you now, it might change your mindset. When I educate you about the disability, whether or not you take it and you decide to accept it, that's on you. If you don't accept it, that's fine. That's your opinion. I'm not gonna sit here and judge you.
That's so kind of you. I probably get that more with my gender. I mean,
Yeah,
with my sexual orientation.
it has to be hard, especially for you. Your gender, and you know he and I'm pretty sure you get some people commenting like really like stuff that's out of the ordinary, like wow, that really came out of your mouth, and it's like you can't believe it, but at the same time you have to you yourself know how to control how to channel that energy, that negativity, you know.
Right. It was a funny thing. I think this will be funny for you since you're in the U.S. and it's very advanced there in terms of the social issues. Like last year, there was the first ever Pride parade in my island, and we were. It was a
First
three
ever,
coexist.
wow, that's impressive.
First time, first time, right? But like, I was leading the group. We were practicing for our presentation for the parade, and that was in our hometown. And I was like, just watching the tennis court and buying some food. One guy asked me, "Hey, what are you doing there?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I belong to the LGBT group. I'm taking care of them." And then What? I thought LGBT is only for boys or gays. What? Know what I mean? Their idea of LGBT is just for gay guys. That's it.
Yeah.
I was like blown away. Like, what?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You get people, like that that'll be, um, that'll misinterpret things, or they don't understand that some groups are for everyone and some groups are for certain people, and it's up to people like yourself to get out there and be vocal and be an advocate and speak out. And
It takes a lot of courage to, especially some stuff like fear, especially fear of being discriminated or not accepted. Because once you reveal yourself, I think that's a challenge when you reveal a part of you which is not visible to the eye, like something deep inside. When you do that, the risk is you will repel other people. So I've always, but I'm not scared anymore. For a long time, to reveal myself to anybody at work, with my family, friends, strangers as well. It's very like liberating. You feel
that's a
very
good word.
light.
That's a good word to use. Good word choice.
Yes, you like yeah a lot. Of course, I realize that there's still a lot of challenges, stuff like that. But I think the fact that I can say that special part of me, which is very hard to say, I believe I can overcome anything, everything already. I thought being gay was really the hardest part. So as long as I can say, "Hey, I'm gay," and have that kind of, how should I say, how do
If
you call that? Like,
you feel a
not
sense
that.
of accomplishment, like you feel accomplished. You've learned to um, accept yourself, to embrace yourself, who you are. And,
Right. I used to say, when I come out, yes, I'd be like before. I used to say, "Oh, I'm gay," like the kind of very shy, scared way of coming out. But now I'm like, "I'm gay."
like you just sit right out in the open. No. Whether or not people, it's like whatever. You guys can know. I don't care.
Okay. I'm like that now, actually.
Yeah.
The so I yeah people's reaction. I'm curious about communication. By the way, so I'm studying EQ, emotional quotient, emotional intelligence. So I showed you the book, Thinking
Yeah.
Fast and Slow by David Kahneman. I got that book from the negotiation book. Chris Voss. He's an ex top FBI hostage negotiator. So to learn, emotional intelligence, emotional quotient, I think this will help me, help myself, and help other people. So that's the reason why I'm studying that. Um, and I don't know where I'm getting. I'm lost. What was I trying to say? I'm curious about. I'm studying now, so I can. Yeah. I was thinking about the reaction, people's reaction to how I present myself. Like if I say I'm gay, and I notice people's reaction of that, and they're like, "Oh, it's okay." They empathize you. But if I say I'm gay, they're like they feel strange. I do that a lot.
So, what is one thing you hope to accomplish as far as everything you've done so far? Like, what's the one thing you wanna what's your like how to word it? What's your dream? Like, what's your goal? Like, what's your main goal? Like that you want to accomplish before anything else? Like,
Dying.
What?
Is that before I die?
Like
Like, is that the ultimate goal?
like the ultimate goal. Like what's your ultimate goal?
I just, I think you can feel it now. My main message is on my forehead that it's okay to be gay. That's all. The
Okay.
message that I want to carry everywhere I go. So I have to learn how to be kind because I'm not kind.
Kindness goes a long way.
It does. So yeah, I'm learning a lot, especially now that we're in this difficult situation. I don't know if you can see my background, but maybe you can see
I
here.
can.
I don't know.
It's a little blurry. Let's see. There's some
This
pictures
is.
back there, right?
I'm gonna.
There we go. Now I can see it.
I
Vision. Okay, I see it.
here. I have like the light bulb, so it's it comes with the age. So
I
I'm like
like it.
yeah, but I realize if you put some, especially for your ultimate dream, if you put time limit, it doesn't make sense. How can I measure the message? Spreading the message it's okay to be gay with a time limit. So that's kind of. I think I'm just gonna. How do you call that? I don't know. Like let it be. I don't know how I can achieve that dream, but I know that's my dream.
Okay. And then, what would you like to let everybody know that's listening to this? Like, what are your words of positivity or any words of advice you have for anybody that's currently struggling with anything that they're dealing with, whether it's gender wise, work wise, fitness wise.
Love yourself and do what you want. Follow your heart. Live a life with no regrets because you only have one you. You can have many girlfriends. You can go job hopping, but you can never go you hopping. There's only one you. So be you, love yourself, and fill yourself full of love until it overflows to other people. So you first.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, and we had a really good discussion, and
That's right.
it's been fun. You know,
My
definitely, I've had a
pleasure.
blast, and just to let my viewers know, this will be up on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you guys listen to podcasts. It'll be on there. Um, I appreciate Chi Anana for being on today. And
Yes.
with that being
My
said,
pleasure.
if I can do it, so can you. Oh, let's see.